Now, Bevan Loftus' father has told the Madlanga Commission that he believes his son was killed in cold blood. Gregory Loftus is testifying about the death of his son Bevon, who was killed on the 1st of April 2023. Now, evidence presented before the Commission yesterday alleged that a hit worth 2.5 million rand was taken out on Bevon's life. This was by his rival Clive Nyka and allegedly carried out by the Cash and Transit Task Team led by the Hawks' Dean Governor. Gregory Loftus told the Commission that he believes his son was murdered by police under the guise of a legitimate police operation. For the latest on the day's proceedings, we cross live to SABC News anchor Ayanda Nyati alongside senior reporter Kenny Mapanga, both at the Bridget Mabantla Justice College. Good morning yet again, Ayanda. Quite a lot having been spoken about at this point, but just before the tea adjournment, we had listened to the audio between Bevan Loftus and Clive Nyka. There was a parting shot that also piqued my interest between the two gentlemen, where, if we can call it a parting shot, where he went on to say, that's Bevan, that the fastest lives the longest. We then heard evidence leaders, Kakane, almost zoom in on that specific aspect and ask Bevan's father if that would not even be considered a veiled threat.
In fact, and the response from the witness was that his reading of that statement was precisely that, after seeking clarity from his son. But let's perhaps take a bit of a bird's eye view, Mfundo, to just place our view around why this testimony has even featured here at the Madlanga Commission. The allegation, broadly speaking, is that there are rogue police officers operating within KwaZulu-Natal, and they are essentially carrying out the job or the dirty work of alleged criminals to take out their rivals. Now, Gregory Loftus is here because the allegation is that his son is among the victims that were gunned down by these officers at the behest of his rival in the towing industry. That's where Clive Nyka's name comes up. And the conversation you just made reference to is the discussion between Clive Nyka and Bevan Loftus, where the latter essentially confronts Clive about whether or not he did put a bounty on his head. But a considerable amount of time was also spent today, Mfundo, honing in on the events of the 13th of December in 2022, when there was apparently a raid at Bevan's house. His dad, who's currently on the stand, says that's when he was arrested and several charges were advanced against him. Take a listen.
I was subsequently falsely charged for obstructing or defeating justice because I did not know Bevan's cell phone number and whereabouts, and also could not open the gate. Impersonating a policeman, possession of state property, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, possession of ammunition, which was a .357 Magnum rounds and one AK-47 bullet, which was allegedly found on the premises at Bevan's house.
Just on that paragraph 42.5, you say allegedly. Do you dispute that?
Yes, I dispute it. Firstly, if I can just explain further, Commissioners, the .357 Magnum rounds, I'm a licensed firearm holder of that caliber of weapon. And on the day, there was a captain from the Durban Central actually asked me if I have a firearm, which I said I do. So he went with me to my premises next door and he took possession of my firearm. The AK-47 bullets, I know nothing of that.
Let me get this. You were in possession of state property because you had the bulletproof vest, the uniform, and the handcuffs. So why would that charge be false if, even on your own version, you forgot to hand them back?
I wouldn't say that charge is false because I agree with you, Commissioners, because it was in my possession. Yes. But I'm saying it wasn't maliciously in my possession because the implication on the day was that I read from Captain Governor and Warrant Officer 7 ideas that I'm using it for malicious purposes. That's why when it was taken off the wall, it was hanging on the wall, I actually said to them, please take a photograph of the condition of that bag to show that it wasn't open, because there are a whole lot of insect droppings on it in the zip area. So I wouldn't say that's false. It's not false because I was in possession of it.
So there you have it, Gregory Loftus saying the case was apparently later withdrawn, but earlier this year we were told that it might very well be re-enrolled. Kenny Mapanga is our senior reporter who's been watching these developments with us and joins us now live. And Kenny, once again, to continue helping us place this testimony, essentially the allegation being advanced by Gregory Loftus is that there are police who went after his son for nefarious reasons.
Indeed, and if we focus on the core allegation and how it fares against the terms of reference, then it's not so much about the good guys and the bad guys, it's about whether or not police were allegedly infiltrated by alleged syndicates or gangs in order to further their own interests. And in terms of the recording in which is part of the substantiation, if I could put it that way, to the claim, because we also saw that the IPID, Deputy Director of Investigations in KZN, leaned on the recording as well, stating that because he acknowledged him as Bevon, that meant he knew that he allegedly put a bounty on his head of 2.5 million. But if you actually scrutinize the recording in quite great detail, there are many reasons why he could have known it was Bevon on the other line. It doesn't necessarily mean it's because there was an alleged bounty on his head, because on 3 occasions in the call, he denies this allegation. He even denies who this Dina is, in terms of the allegation that the payment was allegedly made to the head of the command of the CIT task team. So it's about testing whether or not the KZN SAPS task teams, particularly the CIT task team, was allegedly part of what was clearly this toe tracking warfare, because the father of Bevan Loftus, that is Gregory Loftus, doesn't deny that it was a gang-infested area and there were these kind of alleged criminal elements that came in a business that is quite fruitful as the tow trucking business. But what seemingly is yet to be connected is this claim that there was a payment made by a rival, an alleged rival gang leader, to a cop in order to deploy that cop's team in order to allegedly kill Bevan Loftus. That is the ultimate allegation that he needs to get to and substantiate through his evidence before the probe. And we'll see as he continues with his statement whether or not he's able to achieve that particular task.